Hi, I'm Quincas and I'm a synth DIY guy. Today we're gonna build version 3 of the Befaco Crush Delay. The Crush is a delay and noise module based on the famous PT2399 integrated circuit. It's a very interesting and creative device, which can give you clean delays, but also serves as a chaotic noise machine. By utilizing circuit bending techniques and going well beyond the factory recommended delay times for the chip. It has 3 switches for the circuit bending, as well as very flexible I/O routings, including the possibility of externally processing the feedback, and CV control over virtually everything. Another awesome feature is the automatic gain control for the feedback circuit, so you can go crazy without blowing your ears or speakers. This third version has redesigned VCA circuits, a wider range of clean delay, and a more skip-friendly design. In the bag, you get everything you need to build it, including a comprehensive build guide, which I highly recommend you follow closely. You also get the panel and 2 PCBs, with some SMD ICs already soldered on, and the through-hole components which you will solder on yourself, such as IC sockets, ICs, transistors, capacitors, resistors, diodes, trim pots, and all of the hardware such as pots, knobs, switches, switch caps, jacks, spacers, and headers for the mechanical assembly. So let's build it. This is kind of a dense and time-consuming build, but a straightforward one without any major snags. First, I measured and labeled the resistors to make the job easier. Then I placed the resistors, ferrite beads, and diodes. I like to solder these from above, to avoid having to turn the board around multiple times and deal with a forest of leads. I only had to turn the board around once to trim the leads and touch up my work from behind. Next came the IC sockets. Plug them in minding the orientation of the IC. I used the other board to hold the sockets in place as I turned it all around to solder. I always solder the corner terminals first to secure each socket in place before soldering the remaining terminals. Then I put on my ESD bracelet and proceeded to snap the ICs into their sockets. Next, I organized my transistors and capacitors on my work surface and started installing them. First the capacitors, followed by the transistors. After soldering and trimming the leads, I placed and soldered the trim pots, followed by the COM header, which will connect both boards together. Now onto the control board. Again, I started with the flat-mounted components, namely resistors, diodes, and ferrite beads. Then the IC sockets. This time I used the panel to hold them in place as I turned the board over to solder. I snapped the chips into their sockets and moved on to the transistors. I then installed the power header and the female COM header. Then I placed and soldered the capacitors. That's it for the electronic components. Let's move on to the hardware. First I installed the metal spacers, which will firmly hold both boards together. Then, without soldering them, I placed the jacks, pots, and switches and carefully fit them through their holes on the panel, making sure everything fit. I finger tightened some nuts to keep the assembly solid as I turned it around to solder. And board 2 was done. I finished fastening the panel components to the panel, attached the main board with the included screws, and the build was finished. Calibration is a simple tune-up of the VCAs using the trim pots. Check the manual for that. I hope you liked this video. Stay tuned for the demo video coming up next. Please like, subscribe, pitch in on my Patreon, and stay noisy. See you soon.